Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. My internet friend, The Fragrant Divide, recently did a video called 14 Questions About Your Fragrance Journey. And it's a tag video, and he mentioned me in his video. So I thought that this would be a good way for me to jump back into making some content after traveling for a bit and dealing with work. I know I'm way behind on keeping up with my videos, but I'm really excited to do this. I'm really happy that he mentioned me, and I think it's going to be fun. So join me. Also, right off the bat, there's a ton of construction noise happening at my building today, but I've waited way too long to make a video, so we're just gonna roll with it. So I got into fragrance as a hobby kind of in a big way about a year and a half ago, and I think I started looking at YouTube reviews just because I was searching for specific reviews of fragrances that I was interested in at the time. I remember specifically looking for reviews for the House of Healy. There weren't a ton of reviews around for at the time. And also for the Christian Dior Privé line, or the Maison Christian Dior line as it was called at the time. And that's kind of how my YouTube journey started. I started watching tons of videos, and I still do. I watch a lot of fragrance YouTube. And I think I got into it because it seemed actually just like people were having fun. I remember some of the reviewers that I watched, they seemed so enthusiastic about the fragrances that they liked, and as opposed to kind of like the hype channels like the Big Beard Business and Jeremy Fragrance. The ones that I ended up watching a lot were people who just seemed like they were in it for their own fragrance journey and wanted to share things that they loved, and that's kind of why I started making videos. The first YouTuber that I subscribed to was probably Arlene from Delicious Delights, and we don't really even share very much of the same taste. Especially when I first started watching her channel, I think she was really into gourmands and kind of sweet-leaning fragrances, hence the name of her channel. But she is really smart. She's really approachable seeming, and just like somebody who you'd want to be your friend. And even when we don't agree on whether or not a fragrance is good, I think she always has really insightful things to say about the notes, the accords, the facets. She tends to get it spot on with kind of how I perceive a fragrance. So she was a great way for me to start learning about fragrance YouTube. All right, even though I don't like the word influenced very much, I watch a ton of YouTube fragrance reviews and fragrance reviewers, and all of them kind of inform my experience to one extent or another. I will say that probably my favorite is Evelyn from the EVE Effect. She's just like the girlfriend I think I wish I had, like a platonic girlfriend. She's so enthusiastic and bubbly and beautiful, and she just has it all seemingly in her videos, and her taste and my taste actually do overlap quite a bit. And she just has such passion for fragrance, and she just seems really relatable to me, and I think that probably more than any other fragrance YouTube reviewer, she's influenced me. This one isn't a YouTube reviewer, but on Fragrantica, there's one user named, I think it's Enrium, I'll put a picture up, but her reviews are really, really spot on, insightful. It's weird, like I'll be interested in a fragrance in March, and she'll have posted a review in February. Like, we like a lot of the same styles, we like a lot of the same houses, a lot of the same notes, and I always look out to see if there's a review from Enrium on Fragrantica. Like I said, I watch a lot of fragrance YouTube, and I actually kind of want to go through some of the ones that I watch because I think that all these people deserve a shout out. So you're gonna see me read from my phone here, but I love Kiki from the Honest Perfume Reviewer, Sherry from the Top Note, Sebastian Furtado, Cheap Imitation, The Fragrant Divide, who named me in his tag video, Varanus Radari, Wafts from the Loft, Fragrance Journey, Among the Stars Perfume Reviews, although he doesn't really make content anymore. Ouch 110, who's like, I feel is pretty legendary in terms of YouTube reviews, and he's slowed down a little bit in recent years, but some of his older reviews are just classic. Jacob Yan, Kelly Lyons. There's a reviewer called Abe from Abe Is Here is his channel. Time to Musk Up is another one who I really like, and he's gotten more and more traction lately. Patchouli Poppy, Lanier Smith from Sense Memory. So those are some of the ones that are, whenever they make a video, I automatically click on them because I think they make excellent content. Okay, so no one's taste will ever align 100% with your own, but I think in terms of YouTube reviewers, the person who I'm probably closest to in terms of taste is Eugene, actually, from You Smells Good. Eugene seems to like a lot of things that are in like the designer exclusive, Frederick Malle, Le Labo, Guerlain kind of range of things. So not super niche and indie, but definitely not designer cheapies either. So I feel like generally he and I like the same things. Another reviewer who I think their taste really closely aligns with mine is Time to Musk Up, and he's putting out a lot of content recently, and a lot of it is very good. But I think he also has a taste for some kind of like bass note heavy, subtle, classic, not very loud things. I know that he also really likes Le Labo, and that's one of my favorite houses. So I've really enjoyed watching his videos in particular lately. I can remember starting to wear fragrances from about 6th grade or so. I remember one Christmas I got a gift that was a fragrance called G Him from Gap, and it came in this very cool like chrome flask thing. I'll put a picture up. And I wore that for a while. But really my first big boy fragrance was CKB from Calvin Klein, which I got into in college. But I wore this one starting in college. I was really kind of fascinated by the fact that it was a unisex fragrance, and that was still kind of a novel concept, at least to me at the time. And I loved kind of the very cool, very 1990s ads featuring Kate Moss and like a host of other 90s figures. And so I wore this for years and years and years. So all through college, then into like my first career when I moved to New York. This was my only fragrance. I probably went through 5 or 6 bottles of this, but I think towards the end of that time, it started to get really super watered down. And so I started wearing it kind of like just on date nights and then not at all. And I probably went fragrance free from about 2016 to 2021, when I really got into this hobby in a big way. I don't intentionally wear fragrances to bed. Okay, if I could only keep 3 fragrances for life, desert island fragrances, one of them would be Dune by Dior, and you guys have heard me talk about this ad nauseum. I will always talk about it. It is probably my favorite fragrance, bar none. It's 100% unisex. It's weird, it's classic, it's floral, woody. It's kind of ambery and vanilla-y in the base, but it's so beautiful. It's perfect for every occasion and every season. I will always, always have a bottle of vintage Dune, no matter the price, no matter the time. My next desert island fragrance is probably Labdanum 18 by Le Labo, and I just love this one. It's weird for me to pick 2 kind of ambery fragrances for the desert island, since it's not even a genre that I think is one of my favorites, but it's just really, really good. It's really comforting, but it's also bold enough to be kind of dressy, which I like about it. And it's also very good in cold weather, but it's like extraordinary when it's hot. I really love this one, and I would definitely take it on a desert island. And my third fragrance for life, desert island fragrance, is probably Fleur d'Orange 27 by Le Labo. I got this one in April, and I'm probably just about halfway through this 50 ml bottle. It is so good. It's very simple. It's a very true orange blossom, which is just a little bit animalic. It's extremely fresh. It dries down to like a lemon creamsicle thing with like a soft blonde vetiver. It's so good. It's Fleur d'Orange 27 by Leila. It's hard for me to say what the worst fragrance I've ever smelled is. I don't really like dissing on fragrances, but I think I'm certainly not into a lot of the like blue things that you find at like men's counters at department stores like Sauvage. Those just really aren't up my alley. 2 things that I've had in my collection, which I like then had to get rid of because they bothered me, were Ganymede by Marc-Antoine Bourgeois, which smelled really interesting and novel when I first smelled it and when I first bought it. but after wearing it, it became just this like really intense synthetic Akigala wood dominant perfume, and not only was it like very loud, but it was also incredibly persistent. Like you couldn't wash it off, and so it began to give me like anxiety when I wore it. It was just so powerful. So I got rid of that. And another one that I got rid of was a blind buy. It was Joe's Rhubarb from the Joe Malone by Zara collection. And it was the thing that made me realize that rhubarb is just like a note that I hate. I've never eaten rhubarb in real life. I don't know what it smells like. I don't know what it tastes like. But Joe's Rhubarb kind of smelled like a compost heap to me. Like very sour, green, rotting. So I'm not a big blind buyer. I used to do it more. I think a lot of people do when they first get into the fragrance journey. Now I'll probably blind buy something if it's like a cheapie and it doesn't make sense to sample it. Like if it's $30 or $40, I'll blind buy it. These days I tend to do a lot more sampling. I get a lot of discovery kits. I'll also buy decants as a way of sampling things. I feel like the more I get into this, a good size sample to me to find out if I like something is somewhere in the like 5 to 10 milliliter range. It's very hard for me to decide with a 2 ml sample whether or not something is good enough for me to want to buy. I really need to spend more time with it, and I've enjoyed taking my time to learn about fragrances in that way. My top 5 notes are changing pretty constantly, but I'll try to give an example of 5 that I really love right now, along with 5 perfumes that kind of match them. And the first one that I'd say right now is Vetiver, and for that I'll share Vetiver Veritas by James Healy. This is my scent of the day. It's an incredible 100% natural perfume that's like 90% just pure Haitian vetiver oil. So it's very simple, but I read a review on Fragrantica a long time ago that said that this was like having sex in a swamp and getting pounded into the mud, and that's all that needs to be said. Another note that I've been really enjoying this summer is Ambrette, and I've been wearing Ambrette 9 by Le Labo. I got it in this cool travel atomizer on eBay for a really good deal. But Ambrette is a really interesting note to me because it's a plant that has like a natural musk odor, but it's not at all like an animalic musk to me. And it has all these really diverse facets. Like it smells nutty, it smells aquatic, it smells boozy, it smells like wool to me. It smells gray. Like that's the way I would describe it. It smells like fuzzy gray. And I just have been loving it in a lot of different fragrances. A note that will always be in my top 5 is Rose, and one that I've recently picked up in that category is L'Eau à la Rose by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I got this on my recent trip as well, and this is an aquatic rose, which is just beautiful and lovely. I actually get like an Ambrette pear thing in here as well. It also has kind of that like Delina pear rose kind of vibe going on, but this one I feel is very masculine. And if you like any of the kind of freshies from MFK, I think you should definitely give this one a try. It's one of my favorite roses for the summer. A 4th note that I'm really loving right now is Ylang Ylang, which is like a creamy yellow tropical flower. One that I've been enjoying a lot is Prada's Infusion de Ylang, and I had a 10 ml decant of this. I'm getting near the end of it. Ylang Ylang is just like beachy and almost gourmand in many cases. It's such a comforting scent. And the 5th note that I am really loving right now is Oak Moss. And one perfume with an oak moss note that I've been wearing incessantly recently is Another 13, which is mostly based on synthetic molecules, but it has, to me at least, a strong oak mossy thing happening somewhere in the heart notes. So those are my top 5 notes. As for my 5 least favorite notes, the caveat is that, there are tons of perfumes where some of these notes are present or even all of these notes are present and I still like them. But in general, I don't like things with rhubarb, freesia, lily of the valley, cologne, and Akigala wood are probably the 5 that are just no's for me. One fragrance that I really love that I wish would make a comeback or wasn't so expensive to buy on the secondhand market is this flanker from Armani Code. It's called Armani Code Sport Athlete. It's a flanker of a flanker, and I actually got a bottle of it from a friend who forgot it in my car one summer, and I wore that thing all summer, and it was just the most incredible, spicy, minty, fresh, aquatic sport thing ever. I loved it. It's now like $500 on eBay. I wish it would come back. I do not have a signature scent. I have way too many perfumes to pick one. I'll probably have like months where one particular perfume is getting worn a lot and is kind of a signature scent, but for the past couple of years, no signature scent. I'll answer this question in two ways because I think it gets to the heart of it, but the best scent on the opposite sex, I think, is probably Narcisa Rodriguez for her, the EDT, the black bottle. This is just such a classic, beautiful chypre. I find this to be an incredibly sexy musk scent, and I think it is so womanly. I love this one. I'm attracted to the same sex, and I think that when I think about what's sexy on a man, it's actually something that I probably wouldn't wear myself. Like, I think that some of the like mid 2000s kind of like sport flankers are very sexy smelling. Like the fresh, aquatic, citrusy, just kind of like simple, outdoorsy things, I think are really, really. I want to say a big thank you to the Fragrant Divide for tagging me in his video. I had a ton of fun thinking about these questions, and I'm going to tag some YouTubers in the description box who I think you should check out and whose answers I would also really love to hear. No pressure. But in the meantime, I hope that everybody has an awesome week and that you get to wear a perfume that you really love.